Shout out to our sponsors at Iconbet. Open source, decentralized gaming, no deposits, play straight from your wallet. Iconbet, made by the players, for the players. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Eye on Icon, the episode where we go around the Icon ecosystem and hopefully capture all the news. And with me, as always, is our co-host, Icongrapher. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I don't know. I haven't looked. I've actually, I lie. I have looked at the charts, Icongrapher. I have it ready on screen today. So when we talk about markets, we can look. People can see what we're talking about.
Oh, good. Well, it does. It was obviously been a pretty positive week. I think we got all the way up to 137 for a minute. So obviously a nice little run there, and I've kind of even though I've seen this play out 1,000 times by now, it's still a hard lesson for it to sink in. But it's starting to now where it's kind of I'll see it. Everything will pump for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it'll go back down. And I usually react kind of negatively to that because nobody likes seeing red, everyone likes seeing green.
Mm.
But it reminds me of, it's the nice the 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of method of market growth. I think that's what's really healthy. That's kind of what we didn't get as much of as far as Bitcoin was concerned in the early part of the year. And, it just kind of almost like, it didn't feel like it, but if you look at the chart, it almost like shot up almost straight up to like 70K or wherever it ended up. And then it obviously came tumbling back down. So I much more prefer well, kind of slow and steady, gradual pullbacks. And then because when things start getting too crazy and the numbers doesn't stop turning green, that's when it starts to get a little worried that the bottom's about to fall out. So yeah, it's it looks like it found a nice little floor potentially at like 110. Bounced off that. Now we're up to 120ish or so. And so who knows what it'll be at by the time you're listing, but that's just been kind of the pattern that I've seen play out here. And
Well,
obviously, Balance, the BALN token had a pretty fun little run there too. It shot up from basically under $2 to $3, almost within 3 or 4 days, I think, something like that. Just kind of shot through that $2 zone very quickly, and then someone market sold a huge amount at $3 and tumbled the price back down. So again, so it moves up a little too quickly. That's when you got to be a little concerned. And sure enough, that's kind of what happened. But it does seem also seems to be starting to pick some momentum back up again.
yeah, no, I agree. Look, just looking at that chart, that trend is your friend. It's broken that small trend, but it seems to be just idling right under it. So, fingers crossed. But you're right. It needs a bit of a slower climb rather than a moonshot straight up. Then we just that I tell you what, that correction when we were at that $3, and this is just not ICX. I'm talking even BTC ETH. It all just free fall for so long. It was depressing. By the fourth time, it's like this can't be happening again. It needs to stabilize. So it's just good that it's slowly been climbing, and even the corrections, they haven't been. Honestly, I haven't blinked an eyelid at any market correction this time since the climb. I've just been like, oh, that's great, that's fine, it's still cool. So good to see. I agree with you. I think. Let's start covering off some of the news. Our market chats are great, but I love it. We pretend we know, but we're speculating just like everyone else.
Yep, not financial advice.
Yeah,
Just a couple guys chatting about green and red.
exactly. Green is good. Green is good. Cool. So let's kick it off. I think every episode now we'll kick off with Eye on Icon housekeeping. So first things, our first giveaway was successful. We had our winner. It was announced in the Telegram group, and I have sent them their beautiful NFT from NFT Treasury. It was the Balanced Genesis Silver Edition. Thank you, Icongrapher and NFT Treasury, for giving that to the show, and that was great. It was funny, actually. First one I transferred, it didn't go through, and in the background, so for the next 2 hours I was trying to help him sort out what was going on. I got in touch with the craft team and eventually got into his wallet, which was great. So the winner is new to the Icon ecosystem, funny enough, so it was great that he's recently joined and a fan of the show, and then won this, so he was over the moon, which was great to see.
A very warm welcome.
Yes, yes. So our next giveaway will kick off soon. This one will be a few NFTs bundled together. One, of course, from the NFT Treasury. Then the last show we interviewed an artist, Sophia, goes by the handle Horndorf. She is given the show one of her artworks. Remember, some of her collections have sold out on OpenSea, and she's bringing her work now to the craft store and the Icon ecosystem. So that was a pleasant surprise, and we're very grateful. So we're going to bundle that. And you know what? I'm going to throw one of these pig punks into the comp as well. Look, for a bit of fun. So we've got three NFTs being given away for this comp, and we'll announce stuff on Twitter soon. But the standard stuff: follow, like, this time tag a couple of friends. But I think as everyone in the listening to the show, I will say this: we are actively trying to drive our listeners into our Telegram group where we can engage with them and create little giveaways in there itself that is not associated to Twitter or follow. So definitely, if you haven't already, please join the group. And as you know, part of that is, as once we have enough people, we'll kick off our community sessions in the group itself. We can host a call. That way, it's far easier for people to join in when they see the call being hosted. So there's a few things planned there. I really appreciate when I say we really appreciate everyone's support. So please get in there and if you haven't already, and join the group. But I think that's housekeeping. Iconographer, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I was about to say the community growth is one thing, not seeing any pullbacks. So that's certainly good. Nice, the Telegram's growing, the Twitter following's growing, and just the general kind of anecdotally, more and more people who mention, just kind of around various social channels that they listen, who I didn't know they listened. So it's certainly always nice to hear that and get a sense of we're not just talking into our voices aren't just floating out in the universe, not getting heard. So always nice to know.
Yeah, unlike Voyager that's flying around. Anyway, no, I digress. Cool. No, that's great. Thanks, everyone. So let's jump into the news now. Iconographer, what have we got? First up.
So some definitely, from the Icon Foundation, some encouraging news today. They gave another update on the migration process. It is 87% complete. So I'm trying to remember what our last update was. I think I may have missed it.
67.
67. So, and I think that I'm trying to think how much I'm trying to count. I'm trying to prorate the number of days it took to get from that point to this point
Oh,
and
well,
how
I
long
have
it might take
16
to finish
days.
up.
I think maybe it was Foundry Box Media. He's put a comment under that tweet. 16% in 16 days. So
Okay,
it's moving
so
quicker.
if it's a percent a day, then we're looking at 2 weeks. Again, that's assuming that the trend remains exactly the same, and we don't know, and probably they don't know if it will or not. But nonetheless, we're getting pretty close.
Hmm.
I think just a reminder, according to I think it was their last dev update. It was either their last or their June one. After the migration process, they estimate it'll take around 2 weeks to prepare nodes and exchanges for the hard fork. So that's more just kind of background infrastructure setup, getting the preps ready to kind of to port over everything. There was a post that we talked about a little while back that they posted, basically kind of a guide for preps. They posted an additional follow up to that I just saw today. I think it's older than today, basically kind of laying out a bit more detailed steps as far as kind of what preps and to a certain extent the Icon community should expect from that. It's a little technical, but you can kind of see why it's going to take a little bit of time for everything to kind of play out. But let's say hypothetically they finish the migration in 2 weeks, and then we get another 2 weeks for kind of the node preparation and exchanges and everything like that. And so we're looking at probably in the optimistic sense a month, but that also seems to be potentially the realistic target. So getting very close, certainly very exciting. Obviously, Icon 2.0 brings the updated the updated Icon chain itself, with all the cool features that contains and the benefits. Obviously, it brings us closer to BTP, and as well also the ICE snapshot and launch and all that other stuff. So a lot, again, fingers crossed on a monthish for that to be all done, and other dominoes should start falling pretty quickly after that. So I'd say conservatively by the end of the year, there'll be a lot going on.
Yeah, agree. Look, I think just I'm gonna say November. That way, anytime sooner is just bonus. But I don't have any inside info on that. That's just speculative. But I will say this. One of the comments I made last time, when they posted a bit of an update on the forums, I asked around what does it mean? Because there is going to be a time phrase where the network freezes for a couple of hours while it crosses over to the new chain, essentially hard forks. And Naeem did actually respond, and one of the comments he made is, yes, that will happen, which means various dApps, especially like Balanced and Ohm, people will need to plan for this. And what that means is if you are playing on the edge where you're mining balance tokens and Ohm tokens with your risk ratio quite high, etc., well, you're going to need to take steps, either pay down those loans, etc. So that they are going to shoot off, I think push off a campaign to make sure everyone's aware. So we'll keep calling this out in the show as well. Play it safe. Who knows at that time what the market may turn around and do. No one knows, and you don't want to find yourself in a position, well, that 2, 3, 4 hours, if the network is on pause, you can't do anything and something's going on in the market. So these are things we're going to have to, as users, just be cautious about. Apart from that, nothing else from our end would change. It's just we need to ensure we are mitigating our risks from these dApps that we're using during that migration of the network. But yeah, I think that's all I had. Icongrapher. It's good to see 87%. Yeah, good news.
Yep.
Okay, so next one, what have we got? A series of Ohm updates. So we have a launch date, 24th of August, 5 a.m. UTC. I must look up time zones. I don't know what that is for me, but exciting. We finally have a launch date. I think, how long have we been? I think from day one of Iron Icon, we've been talking about Ohm and balance launch, Ohm and balance launch, and everything's been launching, and Ohm is finally launched. And the best part about it is it's launching with everything they always wanted to launch with. That is bridge integration, a stable coin, that people can transfer from their bank account, US dollars, straight onto the platform. So it is not a dumbed down version. It is the full version that the team envisioned, exactly what they wanted to do. They are shipping that product. So kudos and great news here. Icongrapher, thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's we've been waiting a while. It's nice to have an actual firm date and everything like that. Obviously, they had to deal with a little bit of adversity as far as their previous stablecoin partner was concerned. But very excited. I think we mentioned this last week, but I do want to reiterate the way they've set up the distribution is the first 2 days don't count toward any ohm accumulation or anything like that. They aren't factored in. I think that's just to give people a fairer chance to hop on board and have a fair shot at that ohm distribution. So first 2 days doesn't count. The third day essentially is when it will start tracking your participation in order to figure out your ohm distribution, and then I believe on the subsequent days when the first ohm tokens will be available. So if you hop on there and after a couple days you go check how much ohm you've earned and it's zero, don't be concerned. That's just how they set it up in order to kind of create a bit more of a fair and equal process to get things going. But that all being said, there probably won't be as mad of a rush in the first few hours, kind of like there was on Balanced. But I think it'll be a bit more spread out. But I don't anticipate any lack of participation just from people wanting to just try out things. You do still earn interest on whatever you loan out. So if you're loaning out ICX and it earns 3%. You still will earn that 3%, but you just won't earn that ohm for a couple of days.
Which leads to a real good point. If you haven't already, I've created a tutorial around the latest testnet version and just run through how you can use the platform. But a couple of things that I wanted to call out is, they've just implemented, essentially, say if you pay down your loan on Balanced and instead of unstaking you just take out the SICX, you can now use that SICX on Ohm. You don't need to have it unstaked to ICX, and then, which they did an announcement about. I think I have that up, but that's one part of it. The second part is USDC, IUSDC. So if you're interested, you can move that from Ethereum. You move USDC via Orbit Bridge. Again, I haven't done an updated tutorial, but I do have one where I move DAI from Ethereum via Orbit Bridge. You literally follow that same process, but replace it with USDC, and you'll be able to move that asset across. And finally, I think that's about it. I was trying to think. One thing Icongrapher you mentioned was, if you lend ICX. Now this is what's really cool. Like, even if you have ICX in your wallet, not SICX, the second you put it on the platform, Ohm stakes it, right? So straight away, your ICX is earning you your staking rewards, and there's an additional interest rate, whatever that variable rate will be. You get paid from actually lending your ICX out. So you will often find that you're earning your 10% plus whatever the variable rate on your lent ICX is. So something to, if you haven't followed, make sure you ask in our group. But that is definitely something we should be screaming about to anyone and everyone, because this is kind of a big deal. Like, it's kind of already doubling up your rewards just on the native token itself. So that brings 10%, and say if it's at 2%, that's already 12% you're earning on the native token. So just wanted to call that out. Let's see, what else do we have under the Ohm? We have, SICX, I've covered that, and then Orbit Bridge, I've even shared that with you. If you're not too sure, please ask questions around this. It is extremely simple to use. It's a couple of taps. The only thing you're going to have to pay is gas fees when you're moving from Ethereum to Icon. So if I was doing it, unlike my tutorial, I would kind of decide, this is how much I want to move in one go, and just do it, so that I don't have to keep going back and forth. Because even when you move back in the past, there was a 15 ICX fee that got charged to move from, if you were interested in moving your IUSDC back to USDC, which moves it back to Ethereum. So just be plan accordingly so that you don't get stung with fees. And you do get stung with fees on ETH, so be careful. Anything you wanted to cover off with Ohm?
Nope. I think that pretty much covers it.
Great. Okay. Excited about this. Can't wait. And I think while we're here, just quickly remind everyone, tomorrow, is it tomorrow today? Icongrapher, I get so confused with these time zones, but DeFi Academy in the Ohm Discord, this time Dakey, Scott, they're all going to be there. So if you haven't tuned in, this is the one you may want to start off with. Get in there, join. It's quite well done. They plan it out very well. So definitely, if you're wanting to learn about DeFi, this is some of the stuff, initiatives these protocols are trying to do for the community to get everyone, experienced and comfortable with using DeFi. So these are the sessions you want to go and attend. So definitely get in there. Okay, Icongrapher, enough plugging everyone else. What do you got for us?
So next we'll move on to our balanced updates. And part of me gets concerned of, do we talk about Ohm and balance too much? Because we do have little segments pretty much dedicated to both of them. Certainly balanced every episode, but they're just, each of them's coming out with enough multiple news bits on their own to where it warrants it. So I don't feel too bad. But a couple, or I guess 3 different new developments. First is there was a vote to raise the origination fee on balanced. So prior to the vote, if you took out a loan, there was a 1% fee. So if you took out, a $10,000 BNUSD loan, you had to pay $100 of that. So maybe I did my math right. This new vote proposed upping it from 1% to 1.15%. It was noted that this is still about half of what other platforms do, so it was a gradual increase, and it did. I believe it ultimately passed, or it's on the verge of passing. We have it with 934 voters, about half the holders voting. So another really, really good participation rate. 86.41% approve, 13.58% have rejected it, and then. Let me get back to where I was here. So that's that'll certainly be nice for it'll bring in a little more revenue to the platform, but also isn't such a significant jump where it's going to necessarily deter people from taking out taking out loans and things like that. But obviously, a nice little bump to the fees. And speaking of fees, just within the last day or so, we passed a million total transactions on balanced alone. Obviously, a pretty cool milestone, and that has resulted in about $2 million in fees. So obviously, that's after almost 3 months, if I'm doing my math right. 3 months, 4 months. And so pretty good trajectory there. I think also, the transactions themselves obviously good for balance, but also, the transactions on the Icon blockchain also. So certainly improving quantity on that front. And then the other little bit of news that something we've been waiting on for a while is that the Balin token has been listed on CoinMarketCap. So, it's still, when I last checked, it was still a little bit rickety with the some of the data that was kind of pulling in, but it does have an accurate price. It does have a price chart to look at. It does have our rank. We're currently 6,073, which is obviously low, but just shows there's a lot of room for growth as far as the price and market cap is concerned. So certainly a nice little exposure balance. Nice because there's certain APIs that plug into CoinMarketCap to get price feeds and things like that. And so, and for people who just want to kind of more potentially easily check the price on just their phone or whatever, certainly makes it easier as well. So something we'd been waiting for a while. Nice to kind of, not sure why it took so long, but certainly nice to see. And obviously we'll hope for CoinGecko as well, which, theoretically, if it was good enough for CoinMarketCap, hopefully it's good enough. The infrastructure is good enough for CoinGecko as well.
Yeah, look, agree. I mean, to your point, Icongrapher, the reason why these protocols launched, and they're launched in, I would say version 0, right? And it's great, the launch is out the door, but now the real stuff comes in, the real implementations, and we've seen that happen. And that's why we need to keep reporting and updating everyone. And part of the voting process now this is big because this is what the DAO is about, right? So the core design has shifted. The team obviously influenced, drove every aspect of that. Now we've come to a point where it needs to evolve, and the team needs to keep engaging with the community to make sure, one, the proposal that gets put up to vote is something the community would be favoring, or the community has put a bit of insight into it or input into it. So it's great to see, and it shows the sheer engagement from the community and the care factor about the protocol. So look, the other thing I wanted to quickly, before we touch on the next one, which I'm excited for you to go into detail about as well. Have I got that? No, yes. But before we go there, look, Icon put out a tweet recently, and one thing, as time has gone on, I feel personally this is being lost. That we're taking it for granted what balanced enables for us. Okay. And it's gotten forgotten about because at the moment it's a very closed ecosystem, but I want to shine light to it. Balance enables you to lock your ICX and mint a certain percentage of value in a stablecoin. At the moment, that's 35%. And if we were to compare it with the competition, and there's competition at the moment that's, and let's call it, I've said on the show as well, Anchor is the competition, one of the competitors, okay? And they are just mooning like crazy in terms of TVL and all that jazz. Now, but to put it in perspective, when you look at those rates, it's going bonkers because it's offering 20% in interest, essentially, to where you can deposit a stable coin in there and earn that interest. But I thought, if you actually flip your rationale around, Balanced is offering you far more if you look at it from that perspective, because the way the interest is generated in Anchor is if you take a loan, for example, you have to lock the native token, which is Luna, and you forego all your staking rewards for that token. Okay, the protocol takes that staking rewards, but when you mint the 40% off its value, Luna's value, you can then earn interest on that. But to do that, you're paying an interest rate as well. So they offset that via the governance token, which is similar to what Balance is doing. But if you flip it, what Balanced is doing is different. It doesn't have an earn section where you can deposit BNUSD, although with Ohm launching, this will happen. Or you can mint BNUSD, but you're your native token ICX is still earning you close to 11%. Your entire stack is earning you interest. So if you kind of flip that and go, well, how much interest am I earning if that staking rewards was getting sold into like a stable coin, for example, every moment you're earning, you kind of, I put out some stats around that based on your LTV, the interest rate that Balance along with the rewards offers for you just minting whatever you mint in BNUSD is close to 88%. Like, Icongraph, has that made sense? Like, I don't know. I'm terrible at articulating it in the tweets, but I was kind of, the whole goal is to, they remove these rewards. In Balance, we don't. You get these rewards. Yes, you don't have a medium to put your stable coin in. However, if you actually calculate the rewards you're getting on your collateral that you've put up, it works out to be far better of a concept than some of the competition. The biggest hurdle we face now is, getting that peg, which the rebalancing mechanism and everything is being tested on testnet at the moment. And then after that, adoption. And I see first stages of adoption being once BNUSD gets integrated into Ohm, and all of a sudden you can move BNUSD into USDS and out into the real world. Once that clicks, that's our first use case right there. Apart from adoption from exchanges and all that other stuff that everyone's shouting about, once we have that vital piece in place, we forego on ramps and off ramps by exchanges, and we have a direct outlet for our stablecoin. Look, I hope that's made sense. Icongraph, I don't know if you have any words of wisdom around that.
No, I think you pretty much nailed it. I think the other part of that too is, to shield my own project a little bit here, Equality, which is the one that sets up stablecoin trading at a very low fee. What you were just talking about in terms of having, now that we'll have BNUSD, and what's the acronym? USDS, SD.
Yeah.
There's too many acronyms.
USDS,
anyway,
USDC,
multiple stable coins floating around. To have a mechanism, another DeFi mechanism that lets you, exchange them. Either exchange them for very, very minimal fees where it's almost not noticeable. Just go in and out, and also you can provide liquidity with them if you want to do that. So it's starting to, you're really starting to see all these other pieces fall into place. And then of course we also have Optimus down the pipeline too, which is kind of the aggregator where you can just stuff capital in there, and it'll figure out the best. I'm simplifying it a little bit, but basically figure out the best way to deploy it in order to maximize your yield. So it's going to look very interesting in a few months' time once all these things are up and running. Once they're up and running on Icon 2.0, and once they're up and running with BTP involved, and there's assets kind of moving around everywhere. So, I think people, especially as far as Balance is concerned, the first day they got the rewards, they were kind of like, oh, well, this isn't a game-changing amount. But we are really, really in the very early days. And if you start to think about, okay, if we can get 5x, 10x, 20x the amount of activity on Balanced as we have now, things start to get a lot more interesting, both for the amount of fees that could potentially be earned, as well as the value of the Balanced token as well, especially as that distribution continues to tail off. Same goes for Ohm, as more activity gets there. I'm interested to see too, how much the two complement each other in terms of, Ohm's existence ramping up activity on Balm and Balanced, and potentially vice versa, just as far as they complement each other and things like that. Because there's really, I'm starting to kind of sketch out in my mind different strategies. Is it better to just take my ICX and loan it out just kind of quick and easy like that? Or is it, should I jack up the loans a bit more in Balanced and then use that BNUSD to loan that out? Obviously, it's going to kind of depend on, what everyone else is doing too. If everyone's loaning out ICX, then the rewards are going to be lower there, and the interest rate, vice versa if everyone's loading out BNUSD. And so it'll be, I'm very interested to watch it play out in those early days, just kind of watching people kind of moving stuff around, figuring out where the best yield is, all that other good stuff. It should amount to a pretty good amount of activity on the blockchain, but also just kind of an interesting thing to play out.
Yeah, look, agree. I think obviously that first, and this is the thing with the token distributions. Initially, it's not a real representation of true interest rates in a money market. And that's not a bad thing, though, because everyone's doing it. But that's why I love the toggle feature they have, where you can strip the own rewards to kind of get a real good idea what kind of interest rates, because they will be variable based on supply and demand, is actually transpiring. So, but look, initially that first year, not even 60 days, first year, people are going to be mining it, which is supplying and borrowing at the same time so that they can maximize, as long as there is money to be made there, and that's part and parcel. But as time, things settle and time passes, then the true representation will come out of the protocol. And again, the unique aspect is email login, moving money from a bank account on and off, which is a big thing. It's so simple in everyone's head, and it's a big thing in crypto that, oh well, it's come a long way now, so it's good to see it's just integrated into the protocol. But yeah, huge stuff. Can't wait. We've got the countdown. Everything's there in place. It'll be interesting to see. My first thing is I want to see when BNUSD gets on the platform, because all of a sudden you've got a stable coin that you can mint while getting your entire stack of staking rewards, and then take that stable coin onto Ohm and earn interest on it. It's like, yeah, once you start adding all that up and then measure it to the competition, it actually destroys it. So hopefully, along with us shouting about it, we start to see a bit more from the protocols themselves kind of shout this as well, going, actually, do you realize this is what these protocols enable for your money? And I have a funny feeling we're going to start seeing that, so it's good. It's good. Okay, Icongrapher, next up, what do we got?
It'd be cool if there was it'd be cool if there was a way, some kind of what you just said, where you added up the actual real yield between your staking rewards and your balance distribution, everything like that. Like if you were to if there was a way to just kind of pull
a ticker, right?
Here, but
yeah,
just say like, hey, here's what on the screen. It looks like you're getting 10 bounds BA on a day.
Yep.
But actually under the surface, it's okay. How much ICX are you earning on your staking? How much bound are you earning? And how much BNUSD yield is happening like that. Obviously, that's kind of, again, ties into kind of what Optimus will do. But it would just be, I guess I'm just saying,
no, it would be cool.
I think if people think through it, and I think a lot of people do already, but I think if you think through it, if you do the actual math, kind of like Fez did out loud, and just say, okay, I'm earning this on ICX, I'm earning this, and do your actual numbers. It'll, I think it'll be a pretty satisfying number. Obviously, it fluctuates a good amount. I remember, first day on Balanced, it was 18,000% APR on the loans, and obviously we're down to, I don't know, I think it's somewhere in the 40s, something like that. It's under 100.
To take a loan is 66% that you're getting paid, and but this is what I mean, like, the competition, for example, when I keep saying the competition, and I use the competition because it's different in my eyes. I try to use it just to earn interest while Ohm is about to launch, right? But the competition recently integrated ETH into the protocol, which uses the same concept that you can put ETH up as collateral and take out a loan. But you forego all your staking rewards for ETH by doing that. But then the protocol's paying you in governance tokens, so it kind of works out in your favor. That's why everyone's running to it. But we've got the same thing here. Like, in fact, we do it better. You don't have to forego anything. You get to keep everything. So I think Icongrapher, the idea of a ticker that kind of goes this, 11% based on your stack, if you look at your staking rewards per the dollar value of ICX and your loan amount, gives you an idea of how much interest really you're earning with the money you've minted. Like, that's a cool idea and a cool thing to look at and go, holy crap, actually, that 400 BNUSD minted, I'm earning, this much percent on it a year. That's fantastic. Yeah, it sounds like a job for Rhizome DAO. I'm going to put it up there and talk to Andrew.
And I don't even know. It's one of those things where it sounds like a great idea, and then you talk to an actual developer, they say, well, it's really hard because XYZ. And you go, all right.
They're like, are you mad?
Right.
Yeah. So it sounds good, but we don't know. Let's float it in.
We would have a good place to stick it if we did figure it out as far as metrics is concerned. So
yeah,
at least that part's solved.
Exactly.
We have distribution.
Token tech guy will on the case. I'm going to message him as soon as we're done. Okay. What do we got next?
guess one of the original DApps, or potentially the original DApp, Iconbet, came out with a new game. I think they're up to close to a dozen now, around a dozen. So they keep popping them up. This one is Jungle Jackpot. I remember when the game first got announced and I saw some of the initial graphics. It looked, just looking at it, it looked very, very appealing, very fun, all sorts of stuff like that. I have not had a chance to play it yet, as I'm not super liquid on ICX at the moment, but certainly looking forward to doing that. And I know a lot of people are already enjoying it. So if you're an Iconbet participant, certainly go check it out. If you're not an Iconbet participant, you should consider becoming one to go check it out, and the other games as well.
Yep, agree. Great to see. It's a bit different. This one, it's what is it? Touted as the first game with the progressive jackpot. So that's great news. I haven't played it myself either. However, I did. I know I've got it on screen, and one of the first comments, the second comment says "poker when." If you haven't already listened, Gio was on the show just the episode before this, and right at the end, of course, being me, I quiz him to give me any inside scoops, and he did say it is back in testing. So if you didn't weren't aware, poker went back and there was a lot of changes made because they've engaged with professional players and things like that, people like that, and gotten feedback on a lot of things. They want to get this just right. And there's all this other stuff of infrastructure wise, but it is back in testing, and there's a lot of good feedback around it. So Geo is feeling positive, and the team, they are feeling positive that we should see something come to fruition soon. So it's not forgotten about. It's just, yep, it's happening. It should be very soon. But this one is Jungle Jackpot, and great to see another game. The more game the casinos get, eventually it's going to be a win-win. So it's great to see. Okay, next up we have so IconFi will support. This is great, but I mean, did they have a choice? I saw this article. What I did like about this article was if you weren't aware of what EIP 1559 was, a great little spiel on it and how it changes, obviously implementing this burning functionality, but it changes the auction system so that we don't have preferential treatment in terms of the miners picking and choosing the highest bids, etc. But IconFi is supporting it. Essentially, what does it mean? Business as usual. You don't have to worry about moving your Ethereum or anything like that. Anyway, that time has happened. It's passed. You've probably noticed your funds are completely fine. And it wasn't a contentious hard fork where two chains were formed, and then we had to pick and choose which one we'd stick with. Everyone followed the hard fork, and ETH remained ETH. So good to see. But it was great for IconFi to keep their users updated on it. So good to see. Okay. Oh, what do we got next, Icongrapher?
So I don't know if this is necessarily news, but I did want to shine a little bit of a light on it because I had some people. This is so I get the topic is Gangstabet, which is a NFT. I won't say platform, but certainly, it's a gamified NFT, and so it's more in depth than just, I would say just, but more in depth than the typical NFT of kind of where it's just, artwork that you get to collect, things like that. This has a bit more depth to it in the sense that, what it is essentially there's going to be 5,555 of these characters. They're in the format of GIFs, however you pronounce it, however you choose to pronounce it. And they're all kind of stylized around kind of traditional kind of mafia gangster, that sort of motif. So kind of a cool thing. I know that's always intriguing for a lot of people. There's a reason that The Godfather is such a beloved movie, and Goodfellas and all that other stuff. And the distribution will be done through a smart contract. So, everyone pays for one, and the quality / rarity of the one you get is kind of randomized. So it's a very, very fair launch. And what it is, once you own your NFT, you receive a daily allotment of, they're called GBET, GBET tokens. Distributed daily. The supply does cut in half every year, and I think it goes for 9 years or so. And what these tokens allow you to do is essentially change certain parts of your character, primarily the name, but also more importantly to level up with various attributes and skills and things like that. So you can see over time, as as things evolve, as you get more GBet tokens, you can utilize them in order to upgrade certain skills of your characters in order to kind of increase their value and their role in the ecosystem and everything like that. So I just want to highlight that because they've been doing a bit more promotion. I've seen more people kind of say, "Oh, what is this?" And then you send them the website, and they go, "Oh, wow, that's really cool." So there's a it's a bit of a new different thing, and I don't know exactly. They haven't quite set a date yet. There will be a pre-sale and everything like that. But just kind of wanted to highlight that as far as kind of the GBet token and how it works and everything like that. It's kind of a cool project. I think we mentioned a long time ago when it
Yeah.
first kind of got released, but just wanted to circle back around just because obviously everyone's with the launch of Craft, everyone's kind of been awoken to the NFT world to a certain extent. So
Yeah. Look,
certainly very interesting.
I've been tweeting about it constantly. Every time they put updates, I'll retweet it saying I'm excited about it. I just love the idea of an NFT that you can upgrade and evolve it, and it's just cool. I like that. And Icongraph are working in the background. They should be on the show soon, maybe next week or the week after. Just trying to, they've got some big announcements planned, so just trying to line it up. Obviously, you know how we do at Iron Icon, try and capture that exclusive. But yeah, so we'll have them and we'll be able to quiz them and really get out these details and the gamification, how the idea came about. And again, if you're listening to this cool, thinking cool, jump into our Telegram group and start asking us questions of what you want to know about the project, and we can put it to the team. This is the medium we will use to engage with our community. So coming back to that, but yes, very pumped about this. I think Icongrapher. Any other news? I think that's it,
Well, I
isn't
was
it?
yeah, well, it's gonna, kind of, on the NFT topic, it's been nice to, it's been interesting to watch that craft kind of an ecosystem evolve, and the NFT ecosystem evolve within Icon. I think I kind of alluded to this where there's people I've seen who were, one when craft launched, they said these are kind of stupid. I don't really get it. And then a week later, they were, out there buying, selling, minting. So it's certainly been a bit contagious, and it's also, the projects also I've seen evolve a little bit. When it first came out, there was, when I first logged on, there were probably all sorts of, random little pictures that people probably took from other places on the internet and just threw up and kind of hoped to get a sale off of them and things like that. Obviously, I think last week we talked about people getting, burned by, buying something that they thought looked cool, and they would just kind of ape into it and then not realize that, hey, this is basically stolen artwork that the craft platform had to take down because it was a violation of the terms of service as well as potential copyright law. So, but there was, I went on a little bit of a mini rant on Twitter, basically saying, I've seen about 50 iterations of various punk punk artwork, which is fine. And I think, people want to take that route. They're more than welcome to, especially if they want to buy it. I think, CryptoPunks it's kind of become the most known. It was kind of the original crypto kind of collectible. And I think everyone's kind of trying to, follow that route. But I just think there's infinite room for creativity out there as far as different things people can do. Obviously, characters, there's a million different versions of those. But even aside from that, there's other things too. The one that with the, I always forget the name, but the one where the with the eggs hatching and things like that. I think that's kind of a bit more of
Pixels.
a unique spin. Yeah, that's it. So just I'm encouraged to see things kind of continue to grow and evolve, and people get more innovative, and put some more unique kind of stuff out there. The craft Discord, there's more and more people popping up. There's more projects popping up. I think there's more effort going into stuff too. So I think people, part of it's people kind of finding their approach, finding out what works, what doesn't, both from a graphic standpoint, but also potentially from a marketing standpoint and things like that. But it's altogether nice to see things kind of growing, and I look forward to seeing further innovation, creativity, and all that other good stuff.
Yeah, agree. And that Pixels, project is cool because Brian, who happens to be, a artist who's worked on Dragon Prince, one of the shows, and these are the guys who created Avatar, Airbender, and The Legend of Korra, and yeah, just awesome shows. So it's really cool to see. Artists are involved in the blockchain space and working with some of our devs that have been in the ecosystem for a long time, and they're integrating things they've built. So you've got his artwork and some of Geo's and their devs back pieces that they've created, and they've kind of merged it together to create this project, and it's going to evolve, which is cool. And this is exactly what Icongrapher you've been saying, like yeah, we've seen the buzz, now we'll see a wave of NFT integrations that are very different, upgradable, things like that kind of use tokenomics into the NFT as well to kind of give it that next level, which I'm really excited for. So yeah, let's see what the space look overall. I know people are doing these punks, and it's great though. Like, it's great to just see all these people just come up with ideas or do something different, or a little bit of a tweak on an existing idea, and all the community in the icon space get involved and kind of support it. I guess Icongrapher, to your comments, it is understand that just because something is on craft doesn't mean it's going 10 times because it's an NFT. Okay, that's the ultimate point, isn't it, Icongrapher? Like, things need to things will grow in value depending on artist, what it actually is. But the current buzz could be just a buzz. It could later on resurface to be much bigger, but just be cautious and careful is probably our messaging. But overall, it's great to see all this creativity and people just trying all these cool different things as well on and the craft ecosystem's booming so much that they're struggling to keep up from a performance perspective, and constantly having to fix and iterate to meet demand, which is not the best problem to have, but it's not a bad problem to have, that there's so much usage off the site. Anyway, mini rant, but I feel I covered a few things there, Icongrapher.
Yeah, I'm interested. I think they've alluded to it, but at some point, seeing some statistics as far as craft is concerned, but how much volume is going through, how much in fees are they developing, which is obviously important for those who hold CFT tokens or will hold CFT tokens, because they do offer potential for reward sharing as far as the fees are concerned. So I think I'm very interested to see kind of how, just from a statistical standpoint, how well the platform's operating. OpenSea just continues to blow it up, blow everything out the water. Obviously, they're kind of the go-to place on Ethereum for NFTs, and that's Ethereum's the go-to place for NFTs right now. And so I think they did more volume than Etsy did. I think in the past month or something, so over some type of time period. So obviously, and I don't think NFTs are in mainstream or anything like that. I think they're getting closer and closer to it. I think that kind of the light bulb's going off for more and more people. So there's still, I think there's still a lot of room for growth. And so if we can, if we're able to capture kind of a similar, even a fraction of a market share of or the volume of what OpenSea is doing, I think things get very interesting for, those who are holding CFT, as well as those who are, just involved in the Icon ecosystem as a whole.
Yeah, I agree. Cool. I think that's all we have for the news today. Once again, we called it out earlier, but not financial advice. Make sure you do your own research. We're just two guys who are bringing you the news. Thank you to Donnie in the background, who runs around collating all the news for us to present it to all Iconists, and sharing our views on the matter, but definitely not financial advice. And if you're looking to invest or get involved in any way, shape, or form, do your own research before you dive and take the plunge. But once again, thank you everyone for listening. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, join our Telegram group. I will keep hounding on this matter, and make sure as well you're following Ion Icon on Twitter, because all the episodes now will come out when released via that handle. So once again, thanks everyone for listening. Any closing words, Icongrapher?
Nope. I think another exciting week. Can't wait forward to Ohm. presumably by the time we talk next time, it'll be launched and ideally with as smooth of a process as possible.
Agree. Take care, everyone.